everyone. Welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. And as you can see, these will be your astrological transits for the week of April 2nd through the 8th. And it seems to be, when I tuned into the energy after running the charts, it feels like a very Venusian type of week. We have the Libra full moon coming in. And of course, that's ruled by Venus. And we have Mercury moving into Taurus, which is the other sign ruled by Venus. And we have Venus hitting up the North Node. There's a lot going on in Aries and Taurus for the week. Besides the moon moving through Libra, Scorpio, and I make it into Sag. I forget. I can't remember. Ran the charts earlier this morning, so anyway, let me swap out cameras here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just checked ahead to see how far we have the Grand Water Trine, because I noticed it was there for all week, and it's like, oh yeah, I gotta remember to check on that, and basically it's in effect until April 14th. And by then, Mars will be at 9 degrees Cancer and have moved out of this one point. But we'll still have the trine coming from Saturn to the South Node. And of course, so we'll have this aspect of the architect, the trine to Saturn, and then the sextile to the North Node. So the pattern I'm seeing here, and of course you can see the kite configuration that is still a part of that. This is just so phenomenal. But what I'm seeing as this pattern in the universe, in the cosmos, is holding for us is, well, just as a blanket statement, I have to say, because of Pluto squaring the nodes, and this Grand Water Trine down here at this tipping point of Mars in Cancer, which rules the family. So there's focus and determination and movement within the family. What's the word? Sanctity. The need for security. And then this one leg of the Grand Water Trine up to the South Node in Scorpio. And please, you guys, if you have any Scorpio, I mean, we all have Scorpio somewhere in our chart, whether or not we have a planet attached to it. Please don't take this the wrong way, but I have to read it in the negative sense as to all the gun violence that has been happening in the USA and all of the need for transformation on the highest levels, everywhere in the world, everywhere on the planet. So with Saturn in Pisces, we're needing laws created for the vulnerable. And it harkens back to the past. And I forget, what are the stats that I heard the other day? There have been 100, it was 130. I'm pretty sure it was 130 incidents of gun violence with these, with these like AR-15s, 14s, all that, these massive military-style rifles that nobody needs, unless you're in the military. I mean, what are you gonna take on a SWAT team by yourself? Is that why you would want that? It's like, nice try. So, but these people are crazy, right? And they're not thinking ahead. The meaning of crazy is completely, you can't find reason and meaning to it because it's crazy. So when you're trying to make sense of it, when you're trying to figure out, like, why did somebody do this? Well, when they're crazy, when they're insane, that means they haven't thought far ahead. They don't care if they die. They haven't even thought that far. They're moving from the most negative sense of Scorpio, which would be just rage. But again, like I said, if you have any planets in Scorpio, I mean, I do. I have Saturn in Scorpio. So don't take it the wrong way. That doesn't mean you're a rageaholic or you know what I mean? It's that all humans are capable of anything when it comes to their feelings, their emotions. We're all capable of going through all types of emotions tied to the past or pure feelings that are flowing through in the present, which leads me to this end of the grand water trine. So what is being held for us in the cosmos is this ability to be okay, to have courage. Mars represents courage, to have the courage to feel all of our feelings. That doesn't mean that we need to, beat ourselves up. That doesn't mean that we need to beat other people up. It doesn't mean anything other than it's something that can pass. It can flow through us. We can go through fear, we can go through hatred, we can go through rage, we can go through tremendous grief and sorrow, we can go through feeling just anything, humiliated, my goodness, obsessive, very intense feelings, and we'll still be fine. We can still move through them and be fine. Sometimes within the next hour, if you know how to move through your feelings quickly and let it go when it doesn't have a deeper issue for you to heal, right? Once you've healed those deeper issues, you're fine with just flowing with your feelings. You'll notice if you go into emotional reaction. You'll notice if you're angry. But then you stop and question, okay, is it healthy anger that needs to set a boundary? What is it that I'm really feeling? And what's underneath that feeling? And what is it that I really want? So these are the questions that the cosmos is holding space for us to deeply, ask and get some answers. But again, if you're going to try and figure out crazy, you're going to get nowhere because it's just a vicious circle of insanity. So anyway, to move on from there, like I was saying, new laws to protect the vulnerable need to be created. We have that opportunity. So within the grand water trine, we also have this kite configuration. And the tail of the kite, which is pretty much kind of like flying the whole kite. Without the tail, the kite, if somebody doesn't hold on to the tail, and if the tail isn't a good one, the kite goes down, right? So who's holding on to the tail? Who's flying the kite? Who's flying the kite in your life? Hopefully it's you. If it's someone else, you're going to have powerful confrontations with that person or that group for some time because Pluto is squaring the nodes all the way through to December 7th. And currently, there's an extra square to Pluto, which is Mercury. Mercury rules the news. Mercury rules the mind, communications, everything to do with the way we connect dots, the way we negotiate, the way we articulate ourselves, the way we translate information, the way we rationalize, basically, all right? How we express ourselves is another important part of it. It rules our opinions. It rules our ability to, like I said, connect the dots and find the patterns. So in Aries, it's going quickly. And at this nth degree of Aries, 28 degrees, we just have, one more degree, not even fully one more degree to be done with it. And, of course, Mercury will move into Taurus, and we'll see that chart in a little bit. But anyway, the important thing to remember there is that if a person is going to just fly off the handle and go nuts, they're going to bump into the power structures that be, right? But we can also have some very powerful transformations, because that's what Pluto is all about. And with that south node to the square to the south node in Scorpio, a double dose of transformations. We can have a transformative power in our life that helps us to change our minds, helps us to direct our mental faculties in a new way, right? Because if we're constantly raging or angry or, like I said, there's healthy anger that helps you set a boundary, right? That's like mama bear energy or papa bear, whatever. There's family protection. That's the thing that needs to come into play here. So if you can take that energy, because it's all energy in the universe and energy that flows through our bodies and energy that comes from within, it's all originally one current, which was the force of love that created the cosmos. It's the force of love that keeps us from falling off the earth and has this beautiful gravitational pattern on Earth, but then it's also all these planetary bodies that that are connected to the sun, and the gravitational pull of the sun is so strong that they all revolve around the sun while they're hurtling through space, right? It's an amazing thing. If you want to Google or go on YouTube and look for videos that depict, that display how the planets are moving through the galaxies, through the Milky Way, and or through the galaxy of the Milky Way, and then there's that Andromeda that I guess in about 4 billion years we're supposed to collide with, but I don't know if in 4 billion years, I think we might have a different language for that experience. But so, when it comes to this week, focusing into this week, just remember that there's only one current of energy in the universe, and that is blissed out love where you can't even have a negative thought. And our job here as humans on planet Earth is to try to get back to that one energy current, to get back to that one life force that cares for others as much as it cares for itself, who would be in deep pain, seeing others hurt. So the more we align with that, now that doesn't mean that we don't want justice, and I'm never going to beat anybody up for saying that they want to see justice, but to believe in things like, the death penalty and things like that. I mean, what does that teach a person? How are they going to rehab if they're taken out? I mean, that's just basically like the pot calling the kettle black, right? It's very hypocritical, I think. And they have done enough study to understand that it actually costs more money to do that rather than to keep them in solitary confinement and try to help a person go through some type of rehab. So that's on one level. Now, going back to that one energy current, the key is always in our own lives is to try and get back to that original level of peace. So we have our love, we have our power, which translates into that one energy current. And then we also have this part of us that this like observer self, our spirit that can sit back and go, okay, yeah, we're going through some shit right now, but it's okay. We're going to be okay. Just take a breath, right? Just slow down. Well, with Mercury and Aries, that's hard to do with the mind. So we are going to need, and we have been needing to, this is a build-up peak point here, with all these planets. This is a huge stellium in Aries. We are going to need to stand by our courage, because Aries is a fire sign, as is Leo and Sag. But fire signs are, that's movement, and it does have to do with courage. But the courage might be sometimes, most of the time, is to take a deep breath and think about what you might want to say. Don't just fly off the handle, right? It's easy to do. And I completely understand. And again, I won't ever beat anybody up for it, other than hopefully they're rethinking their choices. But if not, they learn, because it'll come right back to you. If you're a hateful, these people that are hateful and just want to wipe out a whole. I mean, I've heard ridiculous things like, we just need to take Florida off the map. Like, what? What? Just because of DeSantis. I mean, that's just that ludicrous amount of infantile mentality. I can't, I mean, it's just ridiculous to think that way. So, but there's that either or duality. So while we're here on planet Earth as that one life force is, there for us to tap into, the love is always there, is going to take a lot of courage to stop and say no, or to redirect your mental focus, or to, with Eris, it's courage, especially protective feminine courage. With Mercury, it's the ability to stop and think along a new train of thought, and especially because it is exactly opposing the South Node. It's like, yeah, we know what's happened in the past. What can we do? How can we communicate? Exercise our vote. Mercury also rules the vote. Every election, watch where Mercury is, and there will be some clue. And was it retrograde? How long is that vote going to take? So anyway, we know enough about the past to bring through the courage to try something different. In Aries, it's about trying something new, thinking along new levels that can raise us up. And then with the Sun conjunct Chiron, and this is, all week we have this stellium and beyond. Well, Mercury will move into Taurus, but we're still going to have the Sun, Chiron, Jupiter, and Eris are getting closer, or Jupiter's approaching Eris. Eris is going to sit there. Jupiter is approaching. So this stellium here is all about healing and getting in touch with our deepest wounding, but finding our deepest gifts underneath that wounding and flipping it. It's always the, like the knife's edge or the double-sworded, I don't know, make up your own metaphor. I'm not good at that, but it's, you can look on one side and you can look on the other. And eventually, when you do enough deep work on your own wounding, your own trauma that has been carried through lifetime after lifetime until you finally get it, the buck stops here. The buck stops with us. And if we keep perpetuating our lineage, our ancestral patterns, then, we're just going to keep having more and more. We will continue to experience it until we get through it. And at some point, like I said, we have to stop and create new change. So, or create a new way of approaching life. So with Jupiter there in Aries, there's the opportunity to expand in new ways that are very healing, but it all depends on what your belief system is. What are you aligned with? Neptune in Pisces here is still holding space for all the souls that need to get on their spiritual path, get in touch with their source energy inside. And you can use any mentor you want. You can use Buddha, Christ, you can use nature, you can use anything. But if it's a good one, whatever that one is, if it's a good mentor, it will lead you inside, never outside. A crappy mentor will say, you have to go through me, like the Pope. Yeah, okay, no. Even the current Pope that is in play, Pope Francis, I don't know if he says that anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't listen to him, I wouldn't know. But the popes prior to, man, And the whole Pope scenario throughout history, oh, not good. So, but Pisces is ruled by Neptune, but Neptune rules. So we've got a double dose, right? Rules all things spiritual. It's also the planet that rules media, in the ocean and gas, and there's chemicals involved here. There's all types of issues to deal with. We don't have any aspects to Neptune currently. We did have that square from Mars when it was over here in Gemini, but man, that was yeah. So I feel like it's a good thing to focus in on what do you really want to create? What will you devote yourself to? And and it might be there for healing addictions of any type. There are so many ways of looking outside of ourselves as an addictive pattern, for soothing. People are going through a lot of pain. Sometimes physical pain is different, but when it comes, when bringing it back to emotional pain, that it's temporary. And the more courage you have to go through it, to go through any emotions that you're feeling, you will disconnect eventually from the negative emotions, which I call emotional reactions, and then you'll be out of those vicious circles of basically fear and pride and all that self-will it takes to cover it all up. Right? Yeah. So, okay, so let's keep going. That's the general pattern in place for all week and beyond. But you can see today we have more than the kite, right? So on the other side of the kite, from Saturn to, well, I think what I want to say is I feel done with speaking to Pluto, square the nodes, and the grand water trine. I feel complete about that. But this Mercury and Eris and the North Node all trining over to the Moon. There's something about this morning. Let's see, and 1 degree. Yeah, there's something about this morning that will bring in, I think, some deeper self-reflection. Virgo, I love Virgo energy because it has to do with creating divine order, like that just natural order. And it has to do with, the challenge is letting go of perfectionism, but it has to do with making distinctions. And that's really important because, this is where you can get into the unitive state of it's not this or that, it's this and that. But what about that is useful? That's a Virgo question. What about this do I want to hold on to, right? And what about this is just a total distraction? So we're making distinctions as to how to create more divine order and make things more simple in our lives. Virgo rules health. Virgo rules small animals. Virgo rules, keeping your food safe and pure and clearing out anything that could be toxic. Right? Because of the highest levels of Virgo, it's all about purity. And its polar opposite is Pisces, right? And this morning we even have this opposition to Saturn. So there could be some confrontation with the powers, the laws that have been written, and the structures that are in place with Saturn. And we are trying to figure out, is it useful or not? Right? Like, it's not useful to keep saying there. God, hit my head against the wall, man. I swear, how many times do I have to hear this? Oh, they're in our thoughts and prayers. That is not helpful. That is just not helpful at all. So we need new laws to protect the vulnerable, to move forward with this. So from the moon's perspective, now the moon is the public. The moon is things we intuit, things that we want to attach meaning to in our lives. They are our filter of which we see the world, and how we respond to life based on that filter, right? So is that filter clear, or is it not? And if it's not, what is it that's in the way? What needs to be cleaned out, basically? Like, do the windows need to be washed so you can see clearly the birds out there and the trees? Like, what is it that you need to clear out of what cobwebs need to go in order to clearly see the structures that are in place in our own personal lives and then in the outer world? And then what do we do with that? How do we respond? Well, we have, because of these two sextiles here, there's a lot coming off the moon this morning. Oh, my goodness. So we have an opportunity to realize that the past will create itself in the future if we don't make some changes. And this is personal and worldwide, This is us and the collective. And then we also have an opportunity to go in a new direction that brings in more security with Mars in Cancer. And we have the details to back up the proof from the past, right? My goodness, when you look at this, can you guys see that we have a kite going this way? And we have another kite coming off of the moon this morning with Saturn at the tail, right? So who's Saturn? Is it the rifle manufacturing companies? Is it the gun? You know what I mean? I don't even know the names, but it is. Oh, I can think of Smith & Wesson. I can think of Remington. I can think of. That's about it. So there you go. Oh, wait. Isn't there? There's Glock. There's Uzis. There are Uzis. I'm trying to get out of just USA, I suppose. But I don't know. I don't want to go there. Anyway. This could be guns that need to care more about humanity, and they have not. They've numbed out because they're addicted to the money. There's karma there. That's who's flying that end of the kite. But in your own personal life, this could be you having a whole new structure that is spiritually based in your life. And with Neptune holding space there, this is for, she's there, Neptune is there holding space for everyone to get on their spiritual path, which means that eventually you're going to care about everyone else as much as you care for yourself, or care about, it doesn't mean you need to take in every single homeless person into your home. I'm not saying things like that, but you will do more, and you will, because you care, right? And you're going to want the best for everyone, just like you have. You're not going to want more for yourself than you want for anyone less, or anyone else, I should say. So there's that. But in our personal lives, we can really move forward in a solid way this Sunday to cut the wheat from the chaff and get going in the right direction. And we have a lot of courage and the need for security, and we have a tremendous amount of psychic ability here, and here. This grand water trine. We have the psychic placements here, with the intuitive moon that says, "Oh, I didn't notice that detail before," or "Oh yeah, what was that in my dream?" Or you wake up in the morning and you're like, wait, that was weird. I got to think about that one, right? The Virgo moon is basically like, I got to have a think. But you want to be careful not to overthink things as the moon keeps, tracking through the sign. It takes about 2 to 2.5 days to get through one sign, 2.5 to get through one sign completely. So basically, with this other, so we have yeah, so 2 kites this morning, and well, I think I've spoken to moving forward with the Taurus North Node, ruled by Venus, right? And Venus is also in Taurus. Venus has moved over the other side of Uranus, so there's a lot of feminine, receptive, wanting to be safe type of energy, and then also the conscious awareness of the need for women's, reproductive rights. And the things that we're seeing again are wanting to, from the governments in certain states, are wanting to victimize women and children and the family itself, right? Mars in Cancer, that is the family. The families are going to be fighting back because, like I said last week, there are some states it's not going to be safe to even give birth in, and states that are not going to be safe to get pregnant or have a family in. So if it's going to be like that, where's our future, right? Our future always lies with our children. So, okay. Let's see. What else? I'm going to skip over the weaker aspects because it's not worth the time. Let's see. I think that might be about it, actually. Oh, no, hold on. I will divulge into this one because quincunxes are very important. They create the need for adjustment. So it's basically what I said before. Your power will come through as you make the psychological, psychic, intuitive, but very physical adjustments. Right? Pluto power, freedom in Aquarius. Although we do have to give some voice to the challenges with Aquarian energy. On the negative side, they're going to want to get their own way. And some of them are going to want to make changes just because they can, so we're talking this ridiculous Freedom Caucus that Jim Jordan started. We're talking, Marjorie Taylor Greene and these other insane people, literally insane, crazy Lauren Boebert and all of these just jackals in the House. And they're the epitome of the downside of Capricorn and the low energy, because every sign has its higher and its lower vibration. So the lowest vibration of Aquarius is, again, people that just don't care and they just want to get their way and they want to make a big change just because they can. It's like the kid that blows up the lab because he figured out how, right? Blows up himself and the lab. They're in it to gamble. They like taking risks. They're very, very stubborn. And they have this sick need for approval at the same time, right? Because that's what true rebellion is about. It's like they're rebelling against something just for the fact, for the energy that they can rebel. But it's not attached to anything loving or truthful, so they're not really fighting for anything other than the fact that they can do it, if you catch my drift. It's very one-sided and very dualistic and very immature. They tend to focus on drama. They tend to not follow their hearts, right? Because they haven't integrated the positive aspects of Leo. They're just completely unaware of other people and how much they matter. And you can see that with the square here to the North Node in Taurus, Mercury in Aries, with Chiron in Aries. Like, other people don't matter to them unless there's something that they're getting from them. Very transactional type of relationships. But on the high side, so we can come into our, this is going to feel better, because that felt probably pretty awful. Feels awful. My heart's hurting, and it doesn't feel good to me to stay in that energy. So now let's go to the positive side of Pluto in Aquarius. We'll be able to see the bigger picture. We're going to want more friends. We're going to be making decisions from a higher perspective, because we can see how our decisions can affect other people's reality, right? So this is like voting for a living wage, right? Even though we know like things will go up, but it's okay if it all goes up together, we're all better. Why should some people suffer just so that we can have it easier? That's not cool at all. That's not equal. So justice and equality and fairness and altruistic actions, matching your actions with your words, as in, you're voting with your wallet, basically, type of thing. Voting the way that in spending your money, joining forces. And I'm speaking to Scorpio South Node, like joining into other people's, thinking about other people's reality as we spend our money, right? So, yeah, what else? There's more of a willingness, I think, with Aquarian energy to try out new things. More of, because Aquarius it's ruled by Uranus and rules the 11th house. And as you can see with the natural zodiac, the way I have the chart set up with the 0 degrees Aries, the deal with Pluto and Aquarius will bring more power to participating in groups that are unique. And it will honor the uniqueness of individuals. And we'll start relating to people separately, or not, that's not the right word. We'll relate to people, we'll see them for who they are rather than what they do, like you won't be judging a person by their job, because you're wanting more to join together. You might see your partner, husband, wife, whatever, more for who they are as a unique individual, rather than just, oh, that's my main squeeze, or that's my, mom, or that's my dad, or that's my, if you can let go and let go of that as well, like let go of I'm so and so's mom, I'm so and so's sister, I'm so and so's whatever. We're all each unique individuals, and we're going to see more of that over the next 20 years. And appreciate that, because it's such a beautiful thing. So, we'll recognize how unique each other, how unique we all are to each other, especially. And then most of all, that propensity to want to create, to get out of duality and get into the unitive state, means that we're going to start wanting to create win-win situations, which is also the higher meaning when it comes to Aries. That courage to move forward in a constructive way and trust your instincts, but also wanting to create a win-win situation. So, okay, so let's see. Is there anything else for today? Because that's quite an overview for the week, but today is really important for Sunday. Yeah, I think it's good to move forward. Covered the opposition, so there can be a breakthrough to creating new spiritual structure, foundation in your life. Everything to do with family will be growing, getting better. Or at least it can. The opportunity's there. We have to make what we can with the opportunities given to us. But especially this triple trine going to Jupiter, Eris, and Mercury gives me the feeling that that moms and, well, everyone, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, we all have a divine feminine and a divine masculine. In fact, in the spirit world, there's no such thing as that separation. We're all just one. And we have the receptive powers and the active powers. So, okay, so let's go to Monday. And Monday, we have, like I said, Mercury. Oops, let's move down here a little bit. Mercury's moved into Taurus. So now the thought processes will slow down. The mind will not be racing so much. And we're going to be able to settle in and focus in on how to create some safe structures. Notice, the double kite aspect is gone, but we still have, like I said, this whole kite that will be lasting. The grand water trine will be lasting until the 14th, but this kite aspect is almost all week long, I think. I forget. I put the charts together and put them on my desk over here and then haven't looked at them for a couple of days. So I forget, because I've done other readings in between. So anyway, long story short, or long story long, for today, the pattern's still the same, except for now the way the moon is interacting with the sun and Chiron gives us that need for an adjustment. So this might be more of a day to slow down, and I'm thinking that our thinking processes will be slowing down, and we're moving towards that, with the North Node in Taurus. And just remember, Taurus, wants to be safe. Taurus is loyal. Taurus is aware of creating healthy boundaries, likes to go, more slowly, one step at a time. And we're going to be thinking more in terms of like who we really are. And I think having a greater sense of self-worth. We're going to be much more patient with ourselves and others, hopefully, especially as Mercury keeps moving on. But we're all headed in this direction of patience and, trying to get to the place where we honor each other's needs and, real needs. And we want others to express themselves. And especially in Taurus is so good with, all the senses in the body. And most of all, Mother Earth, like the nurturing that we need for we need to nourish and nurture Mother Earth, right? So now we are going to have a stellium. Well, we did already, actually. I didn't name it. Because a stellium is 3 or more planets in one sign. Now we have 4. But it's still, isn't this interesting to have this focus in Aries and Taurus? Like a new way of moving through life with more courage, but then also we're wanting more safety and security. Again, like I always say, it's like Aries is, oh, I'm here. And then Taurus is like, oh, and I have a body. What do I got to take care of this body. Or somebody needs to take care of me or I won't live, right? If you're a baby, right? So we don't have any planets in Gemini. Mars will move through Cancer quickly, but again, that's that focus to the family. And this, back to the moon in Virgo, it's already made it halfway through. The sign of Virgo, there's this double need for adjustment for healing. And there's a spotlight on healing. And I think that it has to do with gun control. And I think it has to do with, again, back to focusing on the family, focusing on security. Because if you don't have that stable, secure foundation to live in, to be in, there could be something with housing. There could be, it's all to do with the family. It's all to do with all things related to Cancer. Like I said before, everything to do with your feelings, validating your feelings. It has to do with empathy. And Pisces is all about empathy. Neptune is holding space in that very empathic sign of Pisces. And with Saturn in Pisces as well, of course, we're learning lessons about that. Cancer is also really good at nurturing others and trying to support them, but some of us might have to work through dependency and codependency issues with family members. That's a very normal thing. For any, it's just, I think it's rare to incarnate into a family where everyone is independent and nurtures each other's independence, and I also think that there's nothing wrong with deeply understanding what it's like to be interdependent with loved ones, right? So, but anyway, back to Cancer in the stable foundation, because we have that trine to Saturn. We are really in that need to create a foundation of security and being okay with maybe the moodiness that we can feel, just like, oh yeah, well that'll pass, or why am I feeling that way? And then take a deep breath and go, I don't want to feel that way. I want to move on, right? Because it doesn't do you any good to sit in that. Stewing is not good for humans, right? And then mostly, and it'll be hard with Mars because it's not like it's Saturn in Cancer, but with Mars, there's a lot of energy moving. But mostly, one of the great things about Cancer is that you can stay centered in your own feelings. Even if you can't express them and you don't know why you're feeling what you're feeling, because you're probably empathing someone around you, or you're reflecting back on the past, because Saturn definitely can have to do with the roots in the past. It's everything to do with family, lineage, ancestry, like I said before. What can happen is that you have to use your Aries sense of self and get back to the now, and then see what information came through with that empathing. And not to judge yourself for it or judge anyone else for it, but just to notice it as information of the emotional body, of the senses. So that's a good overview of Taurus and Cancer consciousness there. And Uranus in Taurus is helping us all to wake up, right? To wake up and notice that. We have these bodies that really are vulnerable and really need to be taken better care of. So let's see, with that, is there anything else? That's sesquisquare to Pluto. I'm just going to let that go. It's no big deal because it's going to pass pretty quickly. It's already, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think everything else is the same. Yeah, there's another sesquisquare to the moon. Yeah, just there might be some stubborn energy this morning, a little bit. If there is, focus on the way to move through it more quickly would be to come back to what you want. Hold on one second. Because of that North Node in Taurus and Uranus. No, wait, I'm sorry. It's Uranus and Venus in Taurus. Yeah, that's right. Venus, trying to bring you back to what you want. Hold on, I need to get some water. Oh, that's better. It turned the heater down, too. Can you guys believe I had crazy hail last night? Well, not in the nighttime, but right before, in the later evening. And it's still on the ground. That's how cold it is out. I had a hailstorm. Not the first time either this week. I think it's the second one. But so anywho, was there anything else? The double trine, yeah, that is focusing in, let your body help you to wake up to whatever you're needing to feel, and then make those discernments without judging yourself, and know most of all, I'll say this over and over, when the moon's in Virgo, do your best to not need to be perfect. Just let it go. Do your best, and then let it go. You don't need to be perfect. Okay, so as Mercury continues to move through Taurus, and we move to Tuesday, you can see the moon is at 25 degrees of Virgo, still in that trine to Uranus. So there's some new awarenesses, some new details that are coming in that are going to be very helpful Hopefully we'll get some news that comes out about some dirty politicians, or at least one in general, that needs to be stopped. And yeah, because we have this double sextile. So, part of this kite here is this aspect of the architect. So whatever happened in the past, there should be some accountability for with the structure of Saturn. And there are two opportunities to move forward in a way that brings in more security and safety for all of us. And we're thinking along those lines, right? Because it doesn't do any good to just sit and yell about it or impulsively move forward in a way that's not well thought out. But with Mercury in the North Node and this whole stellium in Taurus, that things are going to be coming into a sharper focus and be focused on an awareness of our own personal values and also safety and security in the future. So I really hope that this helps with getting those gun safety laws all the way through. I mean, hell, the NRA was already deemed a foreign asset by a Senate, a bipartisan Senate Intel Committee back in 2019. I think it's September 27th, 2019. So what else do we need to know other than that, right? And these people like Lauren Boebert, who are just so hell-bent on, and what's her name too, Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're insane, but they're putting it out there like that's some big thing, and they're pandering to, I think, a pretty small base. But you know what, the USA, we have to get our shit together. If we don't create some new laws, there aren't going to be any kids left, and there aren't going to be any teachers left, and the nurses and doctors are going to be so tired of trying to rescue, save, and because it's you can't be shot with those types of rifles and not be ruined for the rest of your life. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. To allow anybody to buy them, even when they've had a history of emotional issues. Why aren't these what would be the word? Why aren't these institutions, like the medical institutions, psychological, any psychiatrist that has had to prescribe medications for, like, let's say, bipolar, or I don't know, something, anything where a person can't manage their own feeling, psychological body. I'm not talking about somebody that goes through depression. That's different. But then again, how do we know that some of these pharmaceuticals might not be causing the problem? So there's this whole thing with big pharma and the gun, industry and the NRA, all of that. That is just not, it's not working. And if we don't stand up and make some changes, I shudder to think where we're going to be in 20 years. So it has to get better, and I see the pattern here, in the heavens, looks like it's holding space for us to clear this out. And then with the moon today and, for Tuesday, with Virgo energy at this heightened degree, 25 degrees, with the quincunx over here to Eris. Look at this, only one. See, that's the deal when it comes to a quincunx, which is why I, want to focus in on those. They're only 0 to about 1.5 degrees apart. And Eris, of course, is our feminine, goddess of courage. So this might be, remember back in was it the 80s where it was Mothers Against Drunk Drivers that got all the new laws passed? Because before that, people could just drive around drinking and it's like, oh, woohoo, it's ridiculous. Cops would let people go, and yeah. So I'm wondering if I'm probably just ignorant of the fact that there are probably many organizations already out there. But I don't want to wait until the election in 2024 to have something done, right? So maybe there is some new law that because of this adjustment, and it is coming from, again, mothers and parents who are fed up. Let's see, anything else? Well, we can see that the moon is involved. This is pretty cool. So now we have the moon trine Pluto and moon trine Uranus. So yeah, man, big change. So right here, changes coming from the public and coming from our intuitive forces and coming from our ability to get to the details and put in the work, Virgo, see, that's the thing about the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. They don't mind hard work. They like to work. I like to work. So with this aspect here, I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of people that don't mind working at all because they're trying to make a better world in the future with the trine to Pluto. So there's an awareness of how we have to band together in order to make change. Let's see, what else? The moon is exactly opposing Neptune. There could be some breakthrough that comes through in dream time for you personally, but this can also be a breakthrough, because we're looking in the mirror here, and do we like what we're seeing, basically? Now, with Neptune, this could be some hard awareness if you're, a MAGA cult member, because they might not like what they're seeing. So maybe something comes through today, I keep thinking any day. Now, I know Letitia James's investigation or grand jury, that's going on behind the scenes. She's going to bring everything. She has it scheduled for October 2nd. So that one will take some time. But hey, we have the documents case. We have the stolen documents case. We have Georgia. We have, of course, any day it could come through, or maybe by the time I get this uploaded even, because I'm doing this on the Thursday before. So who knows what could happen between today and even Tuesday. But there's some looking in the mirror here and examining some details. And the reflection, is it going to be truthful? Or is it going to be a deluded cult that's like, whoa, we didn't see that coming? Because, they're believing all these deep fake videos that show, like, Biden being locked up and stuff like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. So anyway, it makes me wonder, with all those cases going on against Trump, I can't even remember them all in my head. And whenever I see a list, I go, oh, I forgot that one. Oh, I forgot that one too. So, but anyway, Tuesday looks like, for us on our spiritual paths, a good day for breaking through some old illusion and very real possibility of getting some direct guidance that comes through in dream time, and then we can do something with it, with the moon intuitively wanting to create more meaning, and especially in Virgo, not minding working hard and being useful and creating some divine order out of the information that comes through. Now, and this could also be meditation. It's going to be a really good morning for meditation, especially if you do automatic writing when you meditate. You know, when you put a pad of paper on your lap and keep your eyes closed. Any guidance that comes through, you just kind of, I tend to do it like all sideways where I have more room on the paper. And you don't look at what you're writing, you just let it come through. You don't cross any T's or dot the I's or whatever, but because you don't want to get out of that focus, right? But you just keep taking notes, and then you enjoy them afterwards. And they should be consistent. You should be consistently getting the inspiration, the encouragement, is because it's coming directly from your higher self and your guides, whoever you call in to help you. It all depends on who you call in to help you, by the way. But if you just sit with just your higher self, that's more than enough. Your guides and guardian angels are always around you anyway. But yeah, I like to talk to them. They're funny. So yeah, so it looks like a good day for Tuesday. Let's go to Wednesday. Wednesday, 6 a.m., the moon has moved into Libra. Now there's more focus on cooperating with each other and understanding, especially with this opposition here to the Sun and Chiron, to understanding what somebody really needs. And it could be that an Aries type person or somebody with Mars conjunct their Sun or Moon, you know, is more available to you. And there's the ability to relate. I always see Libra as being the bridge. So it's always about, well, what do you want to, you know, are you going to get to the center of that bridge and be that beacon for yourself? And what do you want to connect with on the other side? I always see bridges as connections. So what do you want to connect with today is the question, first thing in the morning. And hopefully it's to help others or help yourself become more independent. The Sun is exactly, within minutes, conjunct Chiron. So there's a real spotlight on all things Aries, which is independence and our own self-awareness and trusting our instincts to move forward in our positive self-assertion and to nurture ourselves. But with that opposition to the moon, I think there's also going to be relationships to help you with that as well, or you helping others, vice versa, because it's all, giving and receiving is the same energy. So that's really beautiful. And you can see the other aspects are all the same. We still have the kite. Saturn is sextiling the north node. No, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Saturn is sextiling Mercury. Oh, yeah, 2 to 3 degrees, right. So there's more, there's that ability to slow down and communicate and think in ways to bring in more safety and that structure, because there's that compassionate need to, Pisces is, it's such great energy because it opens up our compassion in a way that we're not thinking about blaming. Well, unless we're in victim, there's going to be some hard lessons for people that are in like the whole victim consciousness vicious circle, because this is not going to work moving forward. It's just not. Well, it never has, right? But they'll work it. They'll try to work it, but it's not going to work eventually. But Pisces is so it's such good energy for being non-judgmental, but with that connection, this double connection to Mercury and the North Node, this is about trying to find a way forward, the opportunities to find a way forward to create more safety and more happiness, more security. Without blaming the past, because again, we're talking crazy people with the guns and all that. Well, we can blame the greedy gun manufacturers and the greedy gun lobbyists, but we can also hold them accountable and move forward because it's not working anymore. Look and see what other countries have done. They're not going through this, right? And that's probably on some levels because the government provides, I mean, you just think about it, right? Follow the money. It even makes sense. This is another factor when it comes to Taurus, the Taurus-Scorpio axis. If you're a government that provides free health care, are you going to want to keep paying for people being shot up? If you're a government that provides, good learning institutions, good universities, and things like that, are you going to want to lose your teachers and professors? Think of things like that, right? I mean, that's just exactly what they're doing. It's not smart to do it otherwise. So, yeah, this experiment in the USA has been and is still very challenging. The best way I can put it. But Pisces, back to Pisces energy, it's all about focusing on the pure potentiality, the pure, like positive, like what could be a positive outcome. And we don't mind change, right? It's mutable energy. And we don't mind, as was, Virgo, the Virgo Pisces it's mutable. It doesn't mind change and movement because it's all about honoring what's happening in life and the need for change. Life is change. It's a constant flow of energy. And then most of all, like honoring the fact that we're all connected. We're all in it together. We're all in this together. Yeah. So what else for today? The moon is squaring Mars. And these are both cardinal signs, so there's movement. Yeah, I feel like Wednesday is a good day for having any type of conversations you need to have with a loved one. It's a great day for therapy because of the Sun and Chiron conjunct and the moon over here on the other side. And you can see the moon's at 7, so and Sun and Chiron are at 15, almost 16 with Chiron. And so throughout the day, it will become an exact opposition, right? So, like I said, if you have something scheduled with a therapist or a reading of some type, it should be a really good day for that. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, there's a little semi-square from there. It's Saturn to the Sun. That's that need for action in order to, be on your spiritual path. And yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and move forward. So this is also Wednesday. Yeah. And I just wanted to clock in that exact Sun conjunct Chiron. Happens at 3 p.m. So now we have the clue as to the time frame. But the moon still is still only at 12 degrees even by 3 p.m. So the entire day is great for healing. And as the moon moves forward, notice how we have a triple opposition here. When the moon moves forward a little bit more and we have it opposing Jupiter, then that's also really, really good for healing. And you can see the other aspects are the same. So that was just kind of a placeholder there as to the importance of the Sun joining up with Chiron. Now, later on Wednesday night, we can see we have the Libra full moon coming in at 9:34 p.m. Pacific time at 16 degrees. And it is opposing, look at that, Chiron, the Sun, because the full moon is always an exact opposite of the Sun. But Jupiter's involved and Eris is involved. So there's, when the moon is full, there's a release of energy. It's like the fever pitch. So any issues you've been having relating with others, any issues you've been having trying to feel like, let's say all those win-win situations you've been trying to create, If it's not working out by this full moon, you're probably going to move on. Libra is excellent for cooperating, and like I said before, equality and sharing, and seeing through another person's, like putting yourself in another person's moccasins, basically that old saying, right? Putting yourself in another person's place, that compassionate way to see yourself through another's eyes, or see things through another person's eyes. And most of all, of course, communication, because you're on that bridge to connecting with, another person. So I think that on this Libra full moon, we are all going to be connecting deeply with the need to honor each other. And but it's also forging a whole new frontier, with this emphasis, with this stellium of energy and consciousness in the sign of Aries. And it might show us where we've made all these starts, like Aries, I always say, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And there's nothing wrong with that. And especially with Mars in Cancer, that side to side, go forward, and then you go side to side, and then it was, okay, finally I'm going this way, right? For sure by the time you've gone through that. And there is a focus here, of these 3 cardinal signs. The only one we're missing is Capricorn, but there's a lot of movement with Aries, Cancer, and Libra. So I'm feeling like the full moon now, what you're going to have to do is put the full moon in your chart. So wherever 16 degrees Libra lands in your chart, there will be a fruition or a fullness, a realization, a release in that area of your chart, depending on, is it in your 7th house like here, or is it in your 4th or 9th, whatever it is. Yeah. Or if it's on a house cusp, that could happen. If it's directly on let's imagine your chart has 16 degrees Libra ascendant, then man, you know what? No matter what, when it comes to the full moon, it can be very, very energizing. If it's on your ascendant, it can be super energizing. If it's conjunct your Mars, super, energizing. But, and even when we have the new moons, like if you have the moon conjunct the sun, and it's your sun, your natal, like if your natal sun is, say, 16 degrees Aries, and then the moon's conjunct, it can lead to a sleepless night. So you're going to want to prepare ahead of time. If you can handle melatonin, do that. If you can handle, do everything you need to create a nice sleeping situation that night before, because when it comes through, especially when it's like at the legal timing of 9:34 at night, it can have you wide awake. But it can make for a beautiful visual in the sky. It really can. Yeah. So anyway, back to wherever it lands in your chart, whatever area of that, your life, like let's say it's in the 3rd house, the moon in the 3rd house, the full moon in the 3rd house could be a lot of connection with your community, a lot of communication, a lot of connection with your siblings. 3rd house is, it's the Gemini house, and so it could definitely have you more awake, things like that. If it's in your 12th house, then you might not have as much trouble sleeping. So, but anyway, you guys can always look at that. Especially, I'm thinking you probably already know your own chart so well, it won't be a problem. Okay, so then Friday. Oh, wait, I think I left out Thursday, yeah, because this is Wednesday with the evening. Yeah, that's right, I remember looking at Thursday, and it was like, nothing big, no big deal. It's just that the moon moves a little further along, and it didn't make any major aspects between, for the day that I felt like was worth talking about. So I just moved ahead to Friday. So by Friday, the moon's in Scorpio, and it is conjunct, you can see right here, conjunct the South Node. So there is not only the grand water trine, but we have a double dose of 2 legs of that grand water trine now that the moon is in Scorpio and joined up, and we'll move closely over and then past it, but over the South Node. So there's more of an intuitive, deeply emotional process and more self-discipline than ever for choosing some change that will make progress in your life. It can help you release whatever was stagnant. And it's actually good to have that full moon in Libra before, because that would give you that bridge of awareness to cross over. And now you can help clear out the past of whatever needs to be eliminated. This can be great for recycling. This can be great for clearing out closets. This can be great for, I love Scorpio energy when we're in that realm of enjoying things without having to buy them, right? It's also good energy for joining forces with others, so we can, we can exchange support on all different levels, right? It's good for partnering, merging together. And especially we have that double square to Pluto. We would be merging in ways that will help produce more empowerment to each other in that as well. And because we have, my goodness, the moon is opposing, of course, not only the North Node, but also Mercury. And Mercury is opposing the South Node. So all of this translates into a lot of communication to merge together with the people that you want to be with. And it might have something to do, like, let's say if somebody's working through any addictions, this could be very, very good for, clearing that out, or going deeper to understand the cause of the addiction, which is actually how you really do work it through. And what else? We might be kind of letting go of the need to hold on to things, but also understanding what really matters, because Mercury's on the other side of the North Node now, and it's going to start talking to Uranus pretty soon. Uranus conjunct Mercury is like a connection to the cosmos, to the divine, mind. Mercury can be the mind, and Uranus can definitely hook us up. There might be more and more people more interested in astrology, and that's especially true with Pluto and Aquarius. Astrology over the next 20 years is really going to grow. But you know what, you guys, I always have to caution you. If you're watching channels that are telling you, now if it's a tarot reading or any other oracle reading, that's completely different, because they're tuned into that particular sign. And then you can go by your sun sign or your ascendant, or, if they say sun sign, moon sign, or ascendant, and it's a card reading, those you can trust. But if you're watching an astrology channel and they're telling you, oh, this is for everyone with an Aries ascendant, how do they know? How do they know what degree you have on your ascendant, right? And now they'll be right for the ascendant, but they won't be right for the other aspects, because the aspects go within 30 degrees. And we're only reading when it comes to these conjunctions, and, most of us are working with a 4 to 8 degree orb, not 30 degree orb. I can't tell you how many times I've been so frustrated watching these things and look and see that they'll have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and gullible people are listening and applying that to their life, and it's not true, right? Like, let's say you have an ascendant that's 29 degrees Aries. That means that your first house is really Taurus. Or let's say, first is second like that, and they're talking about Taurus, but your second house is Gemini, but you have it, with the cusp in a certain way. You're not going to know which house is, you're going to be applying the information in a wrong way. So be aware of that. Okay, but back to Friday. This looks to me like breakthroughs, confrontations, and breakthroughs, but they will help you to move forward in a really nice way. And again, that grand water trine is still in effect. The kite is in effect, but now we have the power of the moon joined with the tail of the kite. So again, that ability to go deeply into whatever you need in order to heal and transform something, because that is what Scorpio is all about, and create positive change. It's like my friend over, Lori, at the Way of Positive Change. And she's, I think, a double Scorpio, if I remember right. But anyway, or she has some Scorpio in her chart. She is a perfect example of the healthy Scorpio. I mean, literally the name of her channel, The Way of Positive Change. That is the positive, the most positive way of describing Scorpio as there is. And when the moon's in Scorpio, you might have some awareness, some greater awareness into your past beliefs that you're needing to heal. There's a psychological awareness when the moon's in Scorpio that's deeper. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, I think that's about it. We're probably going to be having some breakthroughs and letting go of stubborn old ways of clinging to things and not getting too bogged down with food and things like that. Taurus can be, Taurus or Cancer. And we do have that trine over here from Mercury to Mars. So that's important there. Now, this could actually be really good for cooking up all kinds of food for the next week on Friday with this aspect here from Mercury to Mars. And that would also apply to the entire weekend as well. Let's see, the other aspects are the same. Saturn to the North Node, yeah, getting on your spiritual path. The moon trine Mars the South Node trine Mars is the same, but with the moon trine Mars, again, it's everything I was saying before, but it's like that build up to this point on Friday is really important as to, deeply transforming your past and the desire to do that. Okay, so then Saturday, do I have two charts here for Saturday? I sure do. 9 a.m. Okay, so Mercury exactly sextiling Mars. Well, I did already speak to that, but it happens at 12:20 a.m. in the morning on Saturday. So like I said, cooking up some yummy food, thinking in ways that what do you really value? What do you really care about? And how does that affect your family and your loved ones? And if you're alone, this might be more of this communication deeper in your body that helps you to become more psychic and intuitive and nurture yourself in better ways. The moon is still in the trine to Mars, even though it's a separating trine, but it's still there. And it's definitely still, like I said, till April 14th, we have this grand water trine going on. And we've been blessed with this kite aspect all week long. So with the moon to Scorpio, or the moon in Scorpio too, with this in conjunct quincunx here to the sun, or I'm sorry, to Chiron, there is an adjustment that will be needed in order to in order to move through, accept and release your gifts is what I'm getting with this aspect here. I just heard accept and release your gifts. You have to accept your wounding, and then through that you find the flip side and go deeply into your gifts. Allow your gifts to be released is what I'm hearing there. Okay, and then 9 a.m., there's a double quincunx coming off of the moon to the sun and Jupiter. Wow, I love this. So, deeply psychic, transformative Scorpio connecting with healing Jupiter, and the spotlight is on that. So, if it's not healing or, not focused on healing, then it's at least opening up your belief system in something new. And your emotional body will be the part of you. Your psyche and your emotional body, same thing, right? Will, like when people say soul, I think body, It's when people say psyche, I think soul. It's all the same. But there will be an adjustment coming from your psychological soul body that helps you to heal and expand in some brand new way. And that's setting the stage for the entire next weekend. That is really nice. There's an opposition coming from the moon to Uranus. Ooh, so big changes. Yeah, 18, 17. Big changes even before 9 a.m. Saturday. There are changes that can come through. So this could be a really transformative morning for Saturday from early on. So again, maybe because of the, we still have that grand water trine that's very psychic, and with the moon trine to Neptune, this could be a great morning for transformation coming through meditation and dream time. And, Neptune trine the moon and then sextile Venus here. This aspect right here is really important. So Neptune over to Venus here, and then back up to the moon, with Neptune being like at the bucket point where the energy falls into. With Venus and Taurus, we're in the later degrees of Taurus where it's a very ripe aspect to know by this point what you really want, what really matters to you, and you're well on your way, going in the right direction, and you're coming from your spiritual connection. Because Neptune can help dissolve any of those old boundaries that would hold you back. And then it's also connected up here to the moon that is going to be tightening up this trine aspect as the day moves on. This could be a kind of a dreamy day. It can be a great day for having some fun watching movies or, oh God, I was watching the funniest thing the other day. So if you're subscribed to this channel called BritBox, there's a really funny show called Staged, and it's Michael Sheen and David Tennant, and then a whole bunch of other movie stars keep coming in, and they're going through trying to stay creative and create something new during the COVID epidemic, so it starts in 2020. I think they have 3 seasons. The first 2 are hysterical. There's a couple of the third season that are, and they're only like little half-hour segments, I think. So, but anyway, I digress. Check it out if you're interested. I just found it to be really funny. Yeah. Let's see, what else? As far as with the connection to the moon here, yeah, the adjustments needed to heal, and then, yeah, Neptune ruling media. There could be some fun. This could be a fun day for movies or watching things, however you watch, however you take in movies, dream time, trying to think of all the Neptune, anything that it helps you explore life with less of a limitation, you know. It's linked to anything without boundaries. Both Neptune and Pisces are, right? Now, the best way to use Neptune and Pisces is with your creativity. And in fact, if you're really focused into your creativity, you're going to be less affected with all the negative things that we seem to be going through. But you might be channeling it in your art. Like if you paint, you might be channeling some pain that America, you know, needs to see. Let's see, is there anything else here? Those aspects are the same. Yeah, because I already went through it in the other chart. So I think I'm done. Okay, thanks you guys. As always, take real good care. Bye.